Hey guys, it's me again, and I wanted to announce something that actually happened to me a couple months ago. So, those of you who subscribe might have noticed that my vocabulary has altered ever so slightly since Valentine's Day. In particular, when referring to my significant other, I've been replacing the word girlfriend with fiance. This is not a Freudian slip. I'm engaged. Words I never thought I would utter in a trillion years. Let me start at the beginning to clear up any confusion or questions, and I'm going to be brutally honest with regards to my whole situation. This might rub some people the wrong way, but I am a terrible liar, and I do feel much more comfortable when I can be myself and speak openly about my feelings and things on my mind. May 2020, I was still living at home with my parents and feeling pretty miserable about it. I was ironically working for the same company that I was recently rehired to, but at a much lower position at less than half my current salary. I'd broken up with my last girlfriend the previous October, 2 weeks before my birthday, although we did stay friends, and she later told me she made a mistake breaking up with me, but that's water on the bridge. Oh, and there was a pandemic happening. Being a resident of New York City, we were the epicenter of COVID in much of 2020. Everything was shut down except for essential services like pharmacies and supermarkets and banks like I worked at. And this is going to be a very important factor coming up. For you see, since I was single again, I decided to go back on Facebook dating. Facebook actually has a dating service. Not something a lot of people know about. I don't even know if it still exists. But I've been using it for maybe a couple of years at that point. No success, of course. Then something rather unexpected happens. A woman reaches out to me. Yeah, she's cute. She tells me my dogs are cute. I feature my dogs prominently in my Facebook profile. We strike up a conversation. A few weeks go by. I decide to ask her out. Problem. As I mentioned a little earlier, everything is closed due to the pandemic. Surely we can go to an outdoor venue, I tell myself. So I come up with the idea to take her mini golfing. But even the mini golfing place is closed. Then she suggests, why don't you just come over to my apartment? Cue the Tim Allen, huh? Sound. Was this girl actually asking me what I think she's asking me? And for the first date, suffice it to say, the invitation gave me pause. I just had to ask her, are you sure you're comfortable with a guy you've never met before coming over your place? Yeah, it's fine. I have a dog to maul your face off if you get out of line, blah, blah, blah. She also told me she told her landlady and next door neighbors that she was having company over. But then there's my anxiety-ridden brain kicking in, thinking that this girl isn't who she says she is, or she's not actually a girl, and I'm about to get kidnapped, robbed, murdered. I just couldn't fathom that a guy like me was getting invited to a booty call. Because let's face it, women aren't exactly lining up in front of my door for this. But fuck it. We're in a pandemic, the world's coming to an end anyway, so who cares? I think that was my fiance's attitude at the time too. So we make a date. I go to her apartment. She's actually sitting in the backyard with her landlady waiting for me. We go in, we plop on the couch, and we talk. We actually talk. We're alone. It's quiet, and even though at least one of us spent that day assuming one thing was going to happen, we actually got to know each other. I did ask her if I could kiss her at one point though, and she said yes. And we did make out a little. After that, I don't remember. We probably watched a little TV. We might have gotten Uber Eats. Still, even though I may not have been knocked out with chloroform and woken up in a bathtub full of ice with a missing kidney, it wasn't quite the storybook romance in the beginning. I was quite taken aback when my fiance informed me that she'd just gotten out of a 20-year relationship. Meaning she'd essentially only been with one guy her entire life. And it was a shitty relationship that ended very badly. My fiance is Chinese. I don't know what it is about Chinese women. I'm not trying to stereotype But I definitely noticed that they will stay with the same guy forever, never getting married, never having kids, and most importantly, no matter how unhappy and unfulfilled they are. And this ex of hers, well, he was a piece of shit. They never went out. He never had any interest in seeing her family, yet made my fiance visit his. He would cheat on her, and the relationship finally ended when my fiance had a miscarriage. That was the final straw for this garbage person. He proceeded to kick her out of their house with just a few bins of her stuff. Her entire life was literally put inside 3 or 4 plastic bins. The rest he kept. She barely managed to even get her dog and cat from him. As undeniably sad a story as this was, though, it did make me very cynical about the future of a relationship. I've been down this road more than once, and I was about to let myself be a rebound again, to be tossed aside once this girl realized she was attracted to some other douchebag or that she was still in love with her ex. So, admittedly, I actually started talking to another woman whom I also met on Facebook dating. This absolutely drop-dead gorgeous Guyanese girl named Nadia. Absolutely the most attractive woman I'd ever been acquainted with. But even though there was definitely attraction there, I realized quickly that we weren't a good match in any other capacity, which softened the blow when she ghosted me while we were planning our first date. It's funny to think what could have been had I had the slightly more confident, more assertive personality I have today back then. But then if things hadn't unfolded the way that they did, of course, I wouldn't have met my life partner. May 17th, Christine and I will have been together for 3 years. Longer than any continuous offline relationship I've ever been in. I proposed on Valentine's Day after taking her out to her favorite Italian restaurant. I did not do a public proposal because I wanted as little pressure on both of us as possible. I wanted to be able to say what I wanted to say. I wanted her to be able to say what she wanted to say. I purchased the ring in a small mom and pop jewelry store close to our home with the help of my friend Serena. I also wanted to make sure that Christine's engagement ring was at least as good as hers. It's actually a little better. For a long time, I actually didn't want to get married. I found the whole concept of marriage preposterous and against human nature. I still believe that marriage is something that should never be forced in any situation, and that there are definitely some people who absolutely should not get married. But then maybe I started believing a lot of these things because I couldn't comprehend a universe in which a 5'5" overweight piece of shit nerd with depression could find true love. I love women too much. I'll end up cheating on her, and it'll break her heart, or she'll break my heart, or I'll get bored of her, or she'll get bored of me. These are all things I told myself as an excuse not to put a ring on this wonderful woman's finger. But then there are times when things just feel right. I actually told my coworker at my old job, Marilyn, back in 2021, that if Christine and I were still together a year from then, I might have to give her a ring. A shit ton has happened since then, both good and bad. A lot of these events really felt like trials to see if our relationship could endure. And it has. You know, just before I proposed to my fiance, I kept thinking about a scene from the movie Good Will Hunting where Robin Williams' character is explaining love and how it feels like God put an angel on earth just for you. And while I may not be religious, of course, I do believe that there are people who come into your life at just the right time that you need to grab onto, because if you don't, you'll never get another chance again. I believe Christine is that angel. And I believe after we recovered from all that bullshit the two of us powered through in 2021, it was just the right time. I could be wrong, but I need to take that chance that I'm right. Even if it's only 1%, because life is all about taking risks. Something I wish I'd learned a whole lot sooner. More stuff to come. Until then, take care, guys.